Alright, so we're here. Photoshop Lesson 1. I'm just going to do a quick little tutorial. It says download the start file, which is a JPEG. JPEGs are images. So you can go ahead and download this image right here. If I click this, it should automatically download right there for me, which is perfect. Okay, so I have that image. Let's go back. We also need, this is a digital book. So if I open it like this, it'll open up the PDF, right? But it's a lot easier to track this if you just take a look at it, like if you use the lesson file. So I'm going to use that too. So I have my image and I have this, and this is basically right here what you'll be creating in the tutorial. So let's go ahead and get started. It says if we go back up, it's going to take an hour, but we're not going to take an hour because this, like, they like to make you do things and then undo them. And you don't need to do that. So let's start with this. Click on Adobe Photoshop icon. We're going to basically open it. It's telling you about all these different little tools. And mine's opening up on the screen, but I'm right about to just move it over. So here's my Photoshop, and here's my actual PDFs. So I'm gonna make it go side by side real quick to just make it easier for us. So here's the book, much better. Okay, so I have this set up now. Like I said, it's not gonna take an hour. Here, they are just trying to tell you about all these little stuff in the toolbar. The new, the what's new, you can just close off of that. Home, whatever. We'll be making our own stuff. Okay, scroll, 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 file, open. So what we're doing is we're going to open that file that I had you download. So we're going to open that image. So the first thing we have to do, we're skipping all this stuff, is we're going to create the new preset. So file new. It gives you this little window. Now specifically, they want us to HDTV. So we're going to go over here to film and TV. They want the HDTV 1080p. And that's a good preset. So we're going to click that one. Over here, we're going to name the document. So let's name it, like they have it 01 working, which we can. At least you know it's lesson 1. And what is it? Resolution 72. That's like a low resolution. That doesn't matter. All right, so we hit create now. We have our blank. I'm going to close this so we can have more space. So we have our nice big blank screen. So what they want us to do is add that image that we downloaded. So all we do that is File, Place, Embedded. We go to File, Place, Embedded. And we're going to expand it now. So click on the drag any handle box or the bounding box. So this is what they mean by click any handle. I drag this, and I basically let it fill the entire white space. When you're done with that, you hit the little check mark. Mine is behind the share, right? So I said I'm done. Touring the workshop area. This is the part I told you that they said it's going to take a while, but we're not going to look at that. Workspace menu. All that means up here, this little button, you can have different workspaces. You want to make sure it's always on essentials, which we're good. Using tools, zoom level. Okay, so now they want us to zoom. So if we were to zoom, and I were to zoom in on this space, what's really cool about Photoshop, I basically moved my mouse up, so you can't really see the way, because I'm holding a mouse here. If I take, like, so I can listen, held that and I dragged it in the front, now all of a sudden it went a lot, right? And if I hold the Alt key, so now I'm holding Alt, you see how that little magnifying went from a plus to a minus, and I do the opposite, it starts to minus. So that's an easy way to zoom in and zoom out. That's all they were trying to tell you with that. And of course, you'd want to do that if you would need to see, but you can also click up and just click. But that's the reason they told you to do that. So then after the magnifying, there's a thing called scrubby zoom, which is basically what I have. Scrubby zoom is enabled, and that's for basically what we were doing, where you can kind of go in and out. All right, so now let's start editing this and adding some cool things. We're going to create a new layer. So over here, if you happen to not have layers, or you're on your laptop and it's hidden down here somewhere, you could go to Window, Layers, but chances are if you're on your laptop, yours is probably like down here somewhere hiding. So you'd have to like put it up. In fact, let me try to make mine look like the way yours looks. Yours could be hiding down here or something annoying. So if yours is hiding like really low or you can't see it, you see how I just opened it up? If you drag here and you see this little blue line, I always prefer that because now you can see your layers. So I'm just going to set that up for you so you can always have the same thing. So layers, create a new layer button. All right, so click the arch layer to select it. They're just saying click it. So I clicked it. We know it's selected because it's like highlighted. And then they want us to push this little plus. This plus will create a new layer. So this is the new layer that's up here. Then they want us to name it. I double clicked. Sorry, I was working fast. Rectangles. So I named it. I hit enter, and now we have that new layer, and it's named rectangles. The next thing they want us to do is make sure that we have the correct, basically, measure of units. So you're going to go to edit, you're going to go down to preferences here, and then they want the units and rulers. So then that opens up this little window here, and basically all they want you to do is make sure that pixels is selected. So there could be something else, but you want to make sure your rulers have pixels. So since we're making this for a screen, we won't really care about inches, we care about pixels, which we'll learn later. So it is pixels, we're good. Next, in the tools, the rectangular marquee. So over here we have in these tools, you're going to look for this one right here. If you don't know what it is, you can always just hover over it and it tells you. So I got that rectangular marquee. So I'm going to do that all. I'm going to zoom out so I can see what I'm working with, right? I'm actually going to hide this so I get more space over here. Okay, now I can view more. So it says position the pointer just beyond the left corner. So about right up here, just beyond, okay? And then drag it down and to create a dash line section. So that it's about a width of 96. You see now I have a width of 96. I'm pointing, but you can't see. So this is here. This is what they meant by a width of 96. So I created that. Now what they want us to do is fill this in. So basically think of it like a paint bucket. They want to fill it in with color. So in the layers panel, make sure the rectangle layers is selected. Okay. Layers panel, rectangle selected. And then they want us to do a fill. So contextual taskbar. All that means is by this right here is my fill. So that's what they mean by that. So I'm going to fill this. Now it says, what do you want to fill? I want to fill color. So now my little color thing is going to come up. And they said, okay, what color? So now they want us to choose the color orange, and we could try to eyeball it, but if we want to be specific, let's say you were making this for like, you wanted a basketball orange and you wanted specific hex color for it, instead of just guessing, because I don't know, maybe you also have you could have a colorblind issues. You would want to choose the value. It says FF7F00. So FF7F00. And you see I get that perfect orange color. After that, it says click OK for the dialog box because we're just, the modes, everything we want is kind of normal. So let me make sure that's what they wanted. OK in the box, and then includes OK for the dialog box fill. Okay. So now it's orange, which is cool. So now that it's orange, they want us to basically deselect that. So you can go here to select, deselect. Now you no longer have that little thing going around it called the marquee. Now you don't have that. So now we're going to create the blue rectangle. So how do we do that? It's kind of how we did the orange one. We're going to grab this tool here, probably go on the outside of it. And how far do they want us to go? They want us to go as far as 660 pixels. So I'm kind of eyeballing 660 is about there. So now I have that same area that I created, and I'm going to do what I did before. I'm going to fill. So I'm going to fill the color with the value of 0053V. You can always copy and paste that, but let's do 0053V2. I have that blue. It told me OK, and now this is blue. So now I got that. It says OK. So now that I'm done, I'm going to deselect, and I'm going to save my work so I don't lose what I'm working on. So recommendation is to save the file type as Photoshop, and you want to save in your Collier Schools or somewhere smart like that so you don't lose it. And then you're going to hit save. If it asks you something about formatting, doesn't matter. So now we're saved, we're good. If the computer shut down, your battery ran out or something, this is safe. We're good to go. So let's continue. All right, now we have our color blending. So in the tools panel, oh, I'm sorry, I skipped. In the layers panel, make sure your rectangle layer is selected and then choose the color from the blending mode. All that is this little drop down here has these different blending modes. They want us to specifically choose the one called color. So let's go over to, where's the color? Down here. So I chose color. So now that I chose color, it gave it that interesting looking effect. Now they want us to add some text. So we have to go down here to the T. We found the T for the text. And basically, where is it? The options bar, select the font from the first pop-up menu. So there's multiple ways to do that. You could do that up here for that stuff up here, or there could be some kind of pop-up here. But let's see what would happen if I click. Yeah, if I click, here's what they mean by the pop-up menu. So they want it to be a Brill something, a Brill fat face. Okay, so we don't have a Brill fat face because we don't have their fonts. Choose any one you think that would look good. I chose Perpetua. I really don't care what you guys choose. I chose the sample. And then they want it to be 210. So I could literally just grab this, put 210 in, and then push enter. And then the last part, once it left align, so up here we have our align tools, or here, left aligned it. And then after I left align it, they also want the color. Here's the color swatch. So the color swatch they want is white. So we're going to choose that text color and we're going to choose white. We can just double click this and make this white, or I like to put a bunch of F's. That's straight white if you put 6 F's. And then the other thing that it wants is center text button. We did that. We did the color swatch. And then they want us to type in History 101. So I'm going to type in History 301. All right, and because you applied the, okay, when did we do that? When did I miss the all caps? Okay, I missed this. Properties is not visible, view its tab, so window properties, and then this is the stuff they're talking about here, where they were saying you could do caps. So where the caps would be is, let's find it. It should be here in the character, it could be more. We gotta find it first. Okay, I basically just pulled down and got more options. So now in our type options, because I'm in properties, so right here, properties, type options, over here I can have all caps. So what I should have done is just basically put the caps, so since I already wrote it, I could highlight this and then do that and it'll still change it. So that still works for that. So now we have our History 101 or 301 and it's all caps, so we're good. All right. When we're done with that, we can click the check mark to be done. And if I'm done hitting the check mark, then deselect the layers. Okay, so the horizontal selected. So then the second one they want us to do. Oh, it also just said if it's not centered properly, you can always use this little move tool. Say I hovered over, and you can move things. If yours is like too off to the side, but mine's fine. So let's do the next thing. So the horizontal type, they want the Acumen Pro condensed, but we probably don't have that. So let's just use something else. So I'm going to grab this text file again. Now it finally created a new one. Hopefully you don't have the same issue I have. All right, live stream. It should appear, okay, and then step 7, it should still be in effect. All right, so of course if it's not there, I'm going to just put this back. You want to make sure that this is not 210, but they said 165. And let me choose a different font. Okay. I have a different font here, and I have it about where they have it. All right, so they said the white is difficult to read, okay? So what they want us to do is add some kind of a solid color onto this history. So in the layers panel, select the arch layer, There's the arch layer. And in the create new filler adjustment layer button at the bottom, that's going to be this little button here. So that's this thing. I'm going to click that. Then it wants a solid color. So basically adds a new layer of solid color on top of this. And the value I want for this color is going to be 0, 0, C, 3303. Now all of a sudden I have that green. Okay, but it seemed to fill the whole thing. Okay, choose hard light from the blending mode. That's the blending mode here. We're going to choose hard light. And then to lower the effect a little bit, in the blending mode menu, change the layer opacity to 90. That would be this. All right, so we're looking pretty good here. If the Scion guides are showing, choose view show guides to deselect it. Oh, they're talking about these lines. If they're showing and you don't want to see them, you can choose view. Oh, show guides. All right, now it's off because we prefer that. Scroll, scroll, scroll. That's just telling you more ways to use panels and workspaces and graphic elements. It says you can switch. I don't know if you knew this. This is blue. This is black. If I switch it black, blue, easy way to like swap them if you really wanted. So last section, we're going to create this little live thingy. So it says you select the eyedropper tool. We're going to find it. It looks like a little turkey baster thing, right? Eyedropper. And then now it says click a lighter blue area to sample blue. So sample like, okay, suck up that blue. Now what it wants though is it wants it to be slightly color. So they use this one, 4099. So I'm going to double click this because I want to use what they're using. So I'm going to type that in. That's 4099 FF. Now I have that lighter blue. Oh, I guess from the swatches, so you could do color sliders. I mean, you saw the way I did it. There's multiple ways to do things in Photoshop all the time. Either way, that's the one I have. All right, so now we're going to be painting with this color that we sucked up. So in the layers panel, select the rectangles. I selected the rectangles. And then hold down Alt. Okay, I'm going to hold down Alt. And then click Create a New. Okay, so if I have this and I hold down Alt and then I hit this Create a New, it basically gives me this prompt. And now that it gave me this prompt, we're going to name it. They want it to name it Paint. Select, okay. And now it wants us to use the brush tool. So we're going to go over here, not this one. That's a selection brush. This one, called the brush tool. So I grab the brush tool, and then there's several different brushes. There's interesting ones. So they want to go to Windows brushes. We're going to go Window, and then we're going to go to brushes. It's going to open up another command here. This gives us a bunch of different ones to choose from. So in particular, they want special effects. So we're going to expand the special effects. And then we're going to go to the Kyle's splatter brushes, splatter blot. That's the first one. So Kyle's brushes. Oh, if I hover over it, Kyle's splatter brushes, splatter blot, tilt. Yep, that's the correct one. So I grab that. It says drag the tool across the word live to paint a few strokes. Okay. But I guess they don't like that, so I guess we could change it. So undo and redo is the part. All right, so choose edit undo. So let me hide this out the way. Edit undo. That undo what I did there. So if I hold and do this as much as I want, but I accidentally screwed it up, you can do edit undo. So that's all they're trying to say with that. Now we're going to actually draw something. So with the brush tool selected, I still have it selected. Go to size 80. So this is what they mean by size. So up here is the size, and I'm going to go to size 80. Okay, and then click away from. Okay, I clicked away from, and now with the paint selected, point over the live text. I'm over the live text, and I'm going to drag in a circular pattern up the brush to put a spot. So there's my circular pattern. All right. So you can compare what you did. So choose edit, toggle last state, edit, and then there should be a toggle last state, which is kind of like undo. So I don't really know the point, but that's fine. To go back, we can just go back to that same thing and go back here. And that's how we had the live. All right, so the last section here, extending an image. Okay. So auto select is often useful because it lets you select a layer by collecting. Okay, so this is actually important because this is part of the issues I was having before about this auto select thing. In the layer, select the arch layer. So I have my arch layer right here. And this little auto select is selected. But that's why they want us to deselect it so that basically we're not accidentally selecting all these other ones in the process. So if we turn that off, and we also have the arch selected, then that means I'll be able to move this arch without messing up anything over here. So now I should be able to drag this, and you could see that the image that you place embedded, it moves. And you don't accidentally move the text or anything else. So I moved it. They want us to move it around right where the orange is. And then they said it looks better. I guess they just like that there. But notice we don't have the rest of this. So using AI, this is what's new about the AI, they said we can just fill it in. So let's fill it in with AI. What they want us to do is now hide, I guess, the rest of this stuff so we can just work with this image. So hold down the Alt as you click the eye icon for the arch layer in the layers panel to hide all the layers except the arch. Okay. So instead of going click, 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 right? All they're saying is, hey, you know what you could do? If this is the only one you want and you hold Alt, it hides the rest of them. So that's a handy thing to just know. So it says now you need to tell Photoshop which area you'd like it to generate. So select the rectangular marquee, which is going to be this little tool again, and create a selection that covers the entire area. So what they mean by that is we're going to cover this little transparent area, but you don't want to cut it off here or it's not going to look right. So you want it to bleed over a little bit, so they want you to kind of let it bleed over just a little bit. That way there's not like a gap. And then from here, this is the content they want you to, you can click Generative Fill. In future assignments, you could just type something in and it create it, but if not, because you just want it to kind of fill in the rest of what you're doing, you could hit Generate. It's going to run its thing, and it's basically what Photoshop is doing is looking for all the pixels that are around it and the rest of the image, and then creating something to fill it in, which is actually really cool because you would not know that that's not part of the image. So that's where it can be a little scary with AI, is that looks too good. And you could say that never happened, never happened. So then now that you created that, what if you look over here, you have this new layer called the Generative Fill layer. And what's nice about that is it gives you three different things to choose from. Number 1, number 2, which still looks seamless, and number 3. So remember I was telling you technically this didn't happen, technically this doesn't exist? Well, AI let it exist. So you can choose the one that you like best. I think for this case, I don't know why I like that one the best, the first one that like slopes up. And I kind of like the last one. I might choose this one with the blush. So you choose the one you want, and then now that you're done with that, we should be able to finish up. So now in the layers, right-click Windows. So we're going to right-click in the Windows on the icon and then Show. So if I right-click on this and it says Show Hide All, it lets all these. You don't have to manually click. You could manually click, but why make your life harder when it doesn't need to be? So I want you to add your name. I want you to go over here, grab a text layer, and then I would click this history text so that your new one goes basically above it. And down here, I want you to add your name. If it's too big, remember you can double click to select all of it and just change it to a size that's small enough but not annoying enough. And now that now that I have my name there, I want you to go ahead and export this. So you're going to go to File, you're going to Export As, which is similar to what they're asking. This dialog will come up. Yours might already be on PNG. You want to change that. I want it to be on a JPEG. as a JPEG, then let's look at these. After the JPEG, it says it wants it at quality 6. It wants the width to 1280. So let's change this width to 1280. And then if I click outside of it, you see how it just changed everything else for me so that it stays proportional, which is what I wanted. Color space, convert it to RGB. So where's my color space? That right there, it says convert to RGB. That's already checked, so that's fine. And I think that's about it. The rest of the stuff is noting that this left pane is telling you how large your file will be. 395 kilobytes is really not large. But if I were to put this up, you can see that the file size gets bigger. And the reason you care about that is storage on your laptop, storage on things, storage on a website. That's the only reason you care about sizes, but it does make a difference if, let's say, you had a crap ton of super, super high quality images. You just, you may want lower quality ones for certain things and higher for others. When you're done with that, you're going to export to call your schools. You can name it one working, you can name it lesson 1. Make sure it says JPEG and you can save. And that's it.